Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just gonna hop in here and remove my front drive shaft, and then I'm gonna replace the U-joints on it. So let's get started. Alright, we're under the Jeep now. This is towards you is the back of the Jeep. That direction is the front. This is the transfer case skid plate. So I'm gonna bring you a little closer and shine you in there. Right here, that's one of the bolts. There's two on each side, so 4 total, and that's what holds your drive shaft onto this side. I'm gonna spin the wheel a little bit for you with my foot. You can see all the bolts. So basically you need to loosen those. You can try and hit it from this side with an extension and a swivel head socket or a swivel head attachment to your socket. It is an 8mm bolt. I think personally I'm going to try and get mine from the other side. It'll be a little more awkward reaching up in there, but from this side it's just super annoying. So let me see what I can do, and I'll get back with you guys. Alright, so how I ended up doing it, or how I've started to do it anyway, is I'm on the driver's side front of the vehicle right now, and I put a swivel head socket on the 8mm, and I'm just doing it from this side. It was kind of awkward to break loose at first, but not the worst. I can also still reach the wrench from the other side, so I mean whatever side works better for you and you can reach it, just go for it. So there's 4 of these. I'm not going to make you guys watch me struggle through all 4 of them, so I'm going to go ahead and undo them, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so now I've got 2 of the bolts out on one side, and a little tip to get to the other side. You just want to jack up one front wheel, and then you'll be able to spin that wheel and it'll turn that drive shaft. So let me just jack up this wheel. Alright, that wheel's off the ground. And you only need one wheel off the ground, you don't need both. I'll bring you down here. You can see the drive shaft turn. And there you go. And you'll want, before you try and undo the bolts, you want to set this wheel back down, because if you try and break the bolt loose, it'll just spin the drive shaft, so you need the wheel on the ground so it'll hold it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take out those other 2. Alright, I've got this side of the drive shaft disconnected. One thing I forgot to mention you probably want to do is do your best, it's going to be hard to reach in there, and mark your drive shaft with where it connects with a Sharpie or pencil or whatever, chalk or whatever you have to mark it, paint, nail polish, just so you can realign it in the correct angle and make sure everything matches up. So now I'm going to spin you to this side, and now we're going to disconnect it from the front. Same thing, mark it here. I've got it marked in a few spots just because when I'm handling it, it's probably going to wear some of it off, and it's kind of muddy, so I just marked like crazy. So I've just got silver markings here and here and down here and here, just to show where I'm going to take it off. But here, same thing, you've just got 2 bolts on each side and then 2 on the top here, so go ahead and knock those out, and then before you do the last 2, you might want to just kind of brace it a little bit, make sure it doesn't drop on your head, or at least, you know, make sure your head's not underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those, and then we'll move on. drive shaft. Next, we're going to replace this U-joint, and then both of these. This U-joint, and then this one in here. Alright, this will probably be tomorrow for me. It's getting late, dinner time, and I work in the morning, so if I'm wearing new clothes the next time you see me, that's why. Here we go. Time to time warp.
Hey guys, I actually had some video get corrupted from my GoPro, so this is actually footage from my rear drive shaft U-joint removal. Just a quick little snippet here to show you how to remove the U-joint since I lost that footage in this video. It's pretty simple. You just go get a ball joint press. If you don't own one, you can rent one. I rented this from O'Reilly's, but any auto parts store should rent them out. Then it's as simple as just kind of lining it up, and you use the press to push the U-joint out to one side, take it out of the press, use a pair of pliers, pull the cap off the end of the U-joint, then you'll put it back in the press, push it back out the other way, and pull that cap off that side, and it'll pop right out, no problem. These were my original U-joints in this Jeep, so they were really rusted in. So I was just kind of spraying them with some PB Blaster and taking it slow. There was a lot of kind of scary popping as that rust broke free, and it shot it kind of through a little bit. So you'll see my arm jerk a lot in this. That's when it's breaking loose. Nothing broke, nothing bent. It's just really old, really rusted in part. To put the U-joints back in, it's the same process really, one at a time, and use the press to push it in smooth and steady. Yeah, sorry for no detailed footage of this in this video, but if you need to see it more in depth, you can go look at my previous video of my rear drive shaft U-joint removal, and then it has all this footage in that one. Alright, thanks guys. Alright, this next clip will be back to the front drive shaft. Sorry, it seems like a little bit got skipped out here, but really all that you missed was me removing the U-joints. So all you have to do is take out all 3 U-joints on the front drive shaft in the method that I showed, just using the ball joint press, and then you'll be caught up to where this section of the video picks up. Again, I'm sorry that it's a slightly incomplete video, but the files got corrupted and there's no way for me to recover it. And my drive shaft's been back on the Jeep for a few months now, so there's no way I can reshoot that footage. But it's fairly simple just to pop those 3 U-joints out, and then we'll pick up right there.
Alright, I went ahead and actually took out both sides U-joints. One thing to be aware of, this piece that fits in here and holds that other U-joint on, you got to be careful because there's a spring, and there are needle bearings inside here too that can fall out, so just be aware of that and be gentle with it. I took my wire wheel and cleaned out inside here and anywhere I had some gunk, and I wiped out inside of here real well with a paper towel. And when I put it all back together, I'm going to grease it real good with some red and tacky grease. And now we're ready to start putting it back together. So let me grab a couple U-joints and we'll get at it. Alright, I've put this U-joint in, got all the clips all around. Nothing too hard about it, just same way I've done everything else. Just put it in there, put a cap on, flip it over, put the other cap on, and then press it in with the the ball joint press. And I've got mine clamped in a vise just to make it easier for me. So now we've got one U-joint left to do. We got this guy. So I've never done this before, so we're kind of learning together, but I'm gonna grease this up real good with some red and tacky grease. The spring, I think, goes in the center. There's a little spring in here too, and I think it goes in there. I'm gonna stick some grease in this guy, grease it up real good inside there too, and I think we'll put that on first, and then we slide in the U-joint. So let's put some grease on. Now, let's see. Let me get the spring out. Springs back in the hole. There's plenty of grease on this. All my needle bearings look good. So I'm just going to slide this back on. Shoot a little grease in there too. Now, let's see. Oh yeah, there's some grease. Get my clips ready. Okay, so we'll take off 2 of these caps. Take the U-joint, kind of seat it in there. This is almost where you need a third hand. Alright, let's take one of these caps. That kind of started. One of these needle bearings, because this fell off the bottom, is about to fall out. I'm going to push it back in. Maybe I'm going to push it back in. Do not like that. Okay. It's mildly back in place. Alright. Stick this bad boy on the press real quick and seat these. That's in there enough now, they won't slide out. So I'm gonna press this side in just past that lip so I can add the clip. I'm gonna pop this out. Grab a clip. slipped in. So now I gotta press this side down. And you just want to go until you feel a little resistance, because it'll be pressing up against that other clip. So right there. So it's in real good on one side, not in so great on the other. I'm gonna tap it. All right, that's in. Play with it. Everything moves freely. We've got all of our clips in. Everything looks pretty good. So it's all good. We're ready to move back on to reinstalling it on the Jeep.
Okay, so this is just another section of video I lost thanks to my GoPro, but essentially it's just 8 bolts, 4 on each side that you're putting back in, same way you took it out. I started with the front of the drive shaft towards the front of the Jeep. I set the back half on the transfer case skid to kind of hold it up, and I put the front in place and screwed in those 4 bolts, and then I switched to the back half of the drive shaft, raised it up. You have a tiny bit of compression that you can kind of push and squeeze it into place, and you just put those 4 bolts in. You'll have to do the whole part where you spin the tire to rotate the drive shaft again. The only thing you want to make sure you do is line up the marks that you marked on the drive shaft with where it mounts up. That way everything is weighted and balanced the way it was before, so you shouldn't have any issues.
Alright, well, that completes the front drive shaft U-joint replacement. I've already done the rear drive shaft in a previous video, and here next I'm going to make a separate video about how to do the U-joints at the front wheels on the front axle. So if you want to see those, check out the other videos. I'm going to take this for a test drive, make sure everything feels good, no crazy vibrations. I'd recommend you do the same. Yeah, so if you guys enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I'm trying to put out a bunch of Jeep TJ and off-roading content, so if that's something you're interested in, I'd appreciate any comments about what you want to see, any likes, and any subscriptions. It'd be helpful. Other than that, I'm going to Moab in 1 week from today. So Colorado and Moab, I'll have a bunch of trail videos coming up in about a month or 2 from that. So thanks guys.